Welcome back to Unmute Yourself. I'm your host, Jennifer Carter, and this podcast is about lifting the curtain on leadership, purpose, and the real stories behind women who dared to do things differently. We'll talk about how they found their path, the struggles they faced along the way, and how they built something that truly matters. Now, these are normal people doing extraordinary things because I want you to know you are extraordinary too. My guest today is bringing the energy, and it is Elizabeth Moliter. Welcome.
Thank you.
And yes, and she's a consultant, creator, performer, and entrepreneur, has built a career around following her passion and helping others do the same. Now, she's the founder of Art of Work Consulting, where she guides professionals, executives, and teams through the tactical, strategic, and personal side of navigating work and life. And, y'all, she's also the co founder of Sister Songs, a production company celebrating Austin women over the age of 50 through cabaret-style concerts, which I cannot wait to hear more about. And her path has taken her from New York stages to Austin boardrooms, from recording national jingles to advising leaders on career transformation. She blends creativity, strategy, and heart in everything she touches, proving that you absolutely can build a life that reflects who you are. Elizabeth, I am so excited to have you here.
It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I love what you're doing. And so it's fun to be a participant in like advancing that whole idea. So thank you for having me.
Well, I'm so glad that you're here, and you have had such a beautiful nonlinear career, right? The actor, singer,
Absolutely.
consultant, producer. So tell us more about your career, and how did you learn to trust your passions enough to build your life around them?
Well, it's interesting because I feel like it's taken me a while to get to the point where I felt like I could completely release to being who I felt like I wanted to be. So I studied theater in college at William and Mary, and I decided to pursue a theatrical career. It took me a while, kind of like had to get my guts to do it. And
Yeah.
then I ended up doing a little bit here and there and then moving to New York City and really going at it for 10 years, pursuing a career on stage, uh, doing classes and, performing regionally, doing cabarets as well as stage plays and musicals. And it was a lot of fun, but it was a ton of work, and you can't make a living unless you're working, like, full-time on a Broadway show. Even at that, the show closes in 3 weeks, you gotta start over. So you're
Yeah.
always, like, resilient you're building resilience the whole time, and it's tons of rejection. I mean, you could be the best artist out there, and if you're not exactly right for the costume you need to fill or whatever, you're done. So it's a very, personal you take a lot of personal criticism, and you have to build up resilience because of that. And I wasn't that great at it. I mean, I felt the pain a lot, and I felt
I
like I
bet.
failed a lot. It was tough. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I did that, but then I also had to make money, so I ended up working, doing temp work. I tried the waiting tables thing, not for me.
Oh my
So
gosh, I
I
loved Elizabeth, I loved it. You didn't love it.
did not love
Okay.
it. I did not love it. I don't know why. It just didn't work for
Not
me.
your thing.
Anyway, so I
All right.
decided I did temp work. I had done that, through college, and I'd worked in offices since I was like 15 years old. So I ended up doing working for a temp agency internally with the agency on an on-site, several different on-sites at investment banks in on Wall Street. So I was hit all the time with this um, what that life was like. And this was during the 90s. It was fairly intense. I mean, I was separate from it because I worked sort of in this HR bubble, but you just kind of saw that all going on, and you could see the things that you would like I was starting to like internalize what I didn't like about that culture. It was very much of a boys club then too.
Yeah.
But it wasn't relevant to what I was doing at the time. So I was doing the theater thing was my main thing, and then I would work in these temp jobs, and then I'd leave and go to shows and all of that. And then I just hit a wall one day, and I said, I'm gonna go to Austin. My mom was here. We weren't from here. My sister had gone to UT, so we ended up in Austin. But I decided to come just for a visit. And I thought, I'm just gonna chill. Just had a lot of disappointments that happened right before that.
Yeah.
And then I ended up just kind of exploring a little bit of create my creative side just for a few weeks, like writing songs and doing things like that. And then all of a sudden it occurred to me, why am I going back there? I can build a life here. Like up until that point, New York was everything.
It
That's
was
all that
it.
mattered. If you didn't make it big there, you might as well just give it up. And I started to learn through some other things that had happened that it's like, no, I don't need that kind of a challenge. So I ended up moving to Austin, and I did a little bit of theater still, but I was also I didn't really want to do the audition thing so much anymore because it's just I was burned out.
Over
Um,
it.
I mean, I would do many auditions every single week. It was just where it was a rat race. Anyway, so I decided I would do some temp work and a staffing company, and then I got hired from them, and I did that for a little while, and then I branched off and did real estate for a while, which I enjoyed, but it also didn't feel like I was serving in the way. I think there was something in me that said it's time for you to serve. You know, you've been about
Mhm.
yourself all this time, and now even real estate is very much about the business of real estate, and it's very driven by money. And I mean, it's a wonderful I learned so much, and I helped a lot of people, I think, but I just didn't really it just didn't go in the same direction that I kind of think I was feeling I needed to do something different that felt more meaningful. And that's when I got back into staffing, but with a nonprofit. And there with a mission to, to help build professional careers for individuals with disabilities. And that really resonated with me. The mission itself resonated with me, but just the idea of mission driven work resonated with me. And that's when I started to kind of like grow in my career and ended up as leader of an organization, um, directing teams, and, learned a lot about what leadership is supposed to look like. Um, yeah. So I don't know if you want me to keep going
Okay,
from here.
okay, so we've got theater, performance, stage, temp work, real estate. You're finding your path along the way. You end up helping people with disabilities and staffing, and now you're back in the stage, right?
Yeah.
So what was the moment that you realized you don't have to choose just one lane and that you can design the work that you actually want?
Yeah, I think when I left the full-time work that I had, I decided to leave that position, just personal reasons, and take some time. And I think just allowing myself to like treat each day like it was brand new, and that I doesn't matter, what's going to happen today, I don't know. And being open to being led in a direction that, whatever you want to say, the universe, divine is telling me, and just being open, ideas would come. And I was doing this consulting work for a while. I started Art of Work and had been doing consulting coaching, very similar to some of the work you're doing, which I love
Mm.
so much. And I love doing that. I still love doing that, but I still sort of had this inkling that this passion, something was missing. And I actually came through a coaching call I had with a coach that I was working with at the time, a business coach, and she was also about like identifying what really moves you and what makes you feel like you're you, and
Right.
which is what I try to find with people. Like, okay, I hear you tell me what your skills are, but I don't hear you. Who are you? What do you care about?
Right.
And we were talking, and we were trying to identify this little exercise she had, and identify like what I felt I was, if I just had like one word to describe how I fit in the world. And she was like, I can't think, maybe you're a helper. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm a helper. But then I said, the only thing that keeps coming to me, like that automatic thing that would come into my head, was singer. And I've wanted to be a singer since I was 5. And it just came back as if I'm still, and we were talking about how to explore that in a way that I can be a singer and not just sing. I can
Right.
use that word to spur building harmony within group, whatever
Yes.
terminology you use. What does it mean to be a singer? What are your should we talked about a tree, and like, what are your branches? Your trunk is a singer. What do your branches do? Like, and at that point I was kind of thinking, you know what? I feel like I have a rock band. It's very on the side, and we do it when we rehearse a lot. We don't perform as much, but we do some recording, and it's my creative outlet for songwriting. And so I started doing that, and I've been at that for a long time. I think 2012 is when we started that.
Okay.
But I had still kind of missed the other kind of singing, like the musical theater singing standards and jazz stuff, and pulling stuff out of the American songbook and making it your own. I just decided I wanted to start taking voice lessons to kind of get mainly coaching and voice lessons. So you bring in your material, and the coach helps you vocally, but also helps you to work on the material that you want to work on. And in meeting this vocal coach, Um, it took, like, 2 lessons for us to decide well, for me to decide, but with his, like, encouragement that I wanted to do my own cabaret show and that I thought really making women over 50, giving them a place and an outlet for what they enjoy in a culture where in general, women over 50 are can be marginalized, but also that, culture of performing where, like, in theater, there's only certain roles, and then you
Right.
can't sing these songs you love because you miss the opportunity, you're never gonna have to play that part, and so now, "Well, it's too late, I don't fit that role anymore," but in a cabaret, you give your gift. You sing what you love, you tell your own story around it, you bring your wisdom to it, your joy to it, and it's actually a very cathartic experience. Because you're able to really take your own whole self and make it part of the experience. And so, just kind of that idea came up and then started working on something. My sister, I have a twin sister, and she was like, "Yeah, I want to do this too." So she started taking lessons, and we kind of built our first show around the two of us primarily, but we added some other women in. And then we've got a new show coming up in a couple weeks, not even a couple weeks, a week from Saturday.
What's the date?
Um, it's the 13th of December.
Great.
It's at, the Rosette, which is a theater, in Hyde Park in Austin.
Great.
So we'll be doing the production there, and that one will feature other women throughout the night. So I feel like I'm kind of combining the things that I always wanted, which was I feel like I wanna serve and help other people and also embody the stuff that I care about. The singing was just that's always kind of like been the foundation of what brings me the most joy. And so even if I just do it in my house, but it to get out there and do it and also feature other women has been just kind of this dream I didn't know I had. I had done some
Right.
cabaret before, but it was very much about showcasing myself so I could get jobs and like who's going to see me. And this isn't really that. Of course, I'd love a great big audience, but I just feel like I, the experience itself is just so fulfilling for so
Yeah.
many reasons. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's where I'm at
Yeah.
now.
You didn't wait for somebody to give you an opportunity. You made your own to get what you wanted.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
What was that like for you to go out on stage in your first Sister Songs show? What
Yeah,
was
it
that?
was interesting. I have to tell you, before that, I was invited to participate in something at Parker Jazz Club, and we were talking about doing the show, and we were thinking about it. But I was supposed to come in with 3 songs. They were just bringing in singers, and my voice teacher wanted me to do it. And it had been the first time I'd been on the stage again, in doing this kind of thing in a million years, and I was petrified. I
Yeah.
was so much more nervous than I expected to be because practicing, I was ready. And then the night came and I was sick to my stomach. And then I stepped on the stage and I got behind the mic and I started the first few bars and I was like, I'm home. I
Yes.
just something about, and then so that gave me the impulse to say, and it was appreciated. I mean, people liked it. I did a good job, so I felt good about it
Right. Right.
because it went well, but mostly because I just felt like, "Oh, I can do this. It's not too late. It doesn't have to be the same as it used to be. My voice isn't the same. Things are different." So, yeah, that gave me the courage to move forward. And then when we did the show, it's a little different when you're producing too, because you're not just, you don't just walk up and do your thing. You got to make sure all the setup is there, all the tech's good, your musicians are hired and they're all in sync and you've got all this other stuff. The flow of the show is going to be good and the sound is good, the seating, blah blah blah. Ticketing, all marketing, which is not my favorite. So all of that stuff goes into it. So it was a culmination of lots of mental activity as well as getting ready physically. But I think it was a lot the same as we got on stage and I was pretty nervous for the first few minutes and you can't see anybody there. The lights are
Because
so
the
bright
spotlight.
cannot
Yeah.
see anybody or see anything, and it feels, like, completely dry, so you're like, "I don't need this much
Mhm.
water normally, but I do now." But I think once we got the groove in, like, maybe the first 2 songs, then it felt like fun, and because cabaret the style of cabaret, if you're not familiar, it's telling stories, usually your more personal stories, and then they evolve into a song that feels like it fits that for you, and so, like I said, it's very cathartic because I was telling stories about my time in New York, my failures, and then but getting that out there and then being able to feel successful in the performing of them now at this point in my career as opposed to the time before. Our first show was called It's About Time. And it really was about you could take a song you learned when you were in your 20s and it meant this. And then now after going through these other things, it has a different message. And how do I feel about that now? And all that. Yeah, so and then it just felt very comfortable because we were kind of almost in a conversation with the audience, which is a wonderful place to be because then you feel supported. You don't feel like you're just like there's a wall here. It's not like
Right.
doing like even film or TV where you just feel like is anybody out there? You just like when it's working and when it's not, and you can make
Yeah.
fun of yourself in the moment because it's not scripted, really. The songs are scripted, but it's not really scripted. It's a little bit more like kind of what you're going to say, but then you also something happens and something changes in the moment. Like we had one mic go out. And so we just did in the middle of it. My sister and I just switched mics and
And you
gave me
just
one
go.
because mine wasn't working. You just kind of got to go with a minute.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
it what you expected it to be?
I think it was even more rewarding than I thought it was going to be.
What have
I
you
think,
learned?
I think I've learned to trust those instincts. Um, and if you care enough about something and are willing to bring it to others that they'll care. If you care and you feel something, especially with performing, because if people might come, they don't care about this kind of music. They like other things. This isn't their thing. And we had people come and say, gosh, I didn't know anything about this art form and cabaret art form. And it was just so great. You guys were great. It was so much fun. And so I think the other thing is learning that there's a little bit of a niche here that hasn't been filled within the Austin community. It's a little bit of this kind of thing going on, but knowing that we have our kind of cohort of women and growing in this sort of 50 plus bit. We have a woman in our group that's 90 years old
Love it.
and she is amazing. She brings life and fun and joy and great, performing ability, and she's just a delight, and she's just such an inspiration because that means you never have to stop. 50 is the bottom, but there's no top.
There's
We
no
just
top.
keep going. So, yeah, I feel like that's one of the things that's resonated really with me is that the idea works. I didn't know if the whole idea of having it be over 50 was gonna I think that's fun. I think it's a cool idea, but I feel
Yeah.
like it works, and, I just wanna do more and more and more, so it's fun. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
great.
'cause is anybody going to care, right? Because it sounds like you had put that dream, right, of being a singer and performer on the shelf, but it was still there and you were still doing
Right.
parts of it,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then re-embracing it and dusting it off and making it bigger and better than ever,
Right.
something completely new, untested.
Right.
So, when I see people say things like, "It's too late. I could never. I'm not good enough. That ship has sailed." How do you help people overcome that hesitation? Or what would
You
you
know,
say to them?
I think probably I find when I'm in a one-on-one conversation with somebody and they're going down that road, I can bring up my own stuff, my own I've been through so many ups and downs in my career, and I'm trying something now, and my clients, a lot of them are younger than me, and they're already feeling like, well, maybe it's stale. Maybe I don't need, what do I don't know if I have what it takes anymore. Well, what's your dream? Why not? Why? Look what I did out of the blue. Okay, I'm going to be a cabaret performer in Austin. Don't have any following here. I was like, but I want to do that. And I feel like there's a calling for it. So we just explore, what do you care about? What do you feel like? Yeah, sure. What are your skills? But what would you really do? If you had a dream, what would you really do? And maybe it needs to be reined in. Well, how about you start here? Why didn't you volunteer these services? Maybe you could do this on the side. Well, I know you've been, people will say, well, I really love doing my making jewelry or whatever, but they're in a career in an office and they hate it. You know, okay, well, you don't have to jump ship, but
Right.
how do you want to advance that? What could we do next? What is the next step that will get you a little closer and also allow yourself to have the joy around that? Or if you're not spending enough, how can you spend more time doing that? If you love that, let's figure that out. So yeah, it's always going to be different for every person, but I just do feel like this time the good thing about being in this year of our is that there is a people do wanna pursue what they care about, and it's not frowned upon in the
Oh,
way
I
that it
love that.
might have been before, you know? It's like, "Oh, that's what you wanna do? Well, tell me about that." That's not to say that's true in every scenario. You might have a boss that just doesn't wanna hear about it, doesn't wanna give you any relief, and maybe you don't belong in that organization, by the way. Um, but yeah, it's just you it's okay. I think that's the thing, giving the person permission to say, "It's okay to care about something that you don't know if other people are gonna care about." But it means
Yeah,
something to you. It means something to you. So what does that mean? And how can that be something like you did with me? You're talking to me and you're excited about what I'm doing. Well, I didn't know people were gonna be excited about this. I was like,
right.
"Well, I like this idea. Timing seems like now must be the time. What am I waiting for?" And just let's do it and see what happens. So I think I like to direct people to just take risks, but maybe smaller ones. Depends on how risk averse you are. But if you feel like it's something you like, or people between jobs sometimes. I talk to a lot of job seekers, and they don't know how to ramp up, and they're trying to figure out how to go
Yeah,
a new direction. And so we work together to figure out, well, in the meantime, maybe this is something you could take a class here, or you could start working on this, or I know you really love this, or this is the place that your heart is. Even if it's not a moneymaker, maybe it will be. Maybe an aspect of
you
that
don't know.
turn into something that can be a career for you. Or it can be just something you do, on the side that makes you not care about the rest of just you do your job and you go home and you love what you're doing.
Right, so
So
it's okay.
it's okay. It's permissions, allowing giving yourself and permission, but I do use myself as an example a lot because
You're doing it.
I'm doing it. I already
Yeah,
know
you're
what
doing
that
it.
feels like, and I've been through those obstacles. I know what it's like to be a woman trying to work in a certain thing, being someone who is judged every day on what they look like. And, what their body shape
Correct,
is, all of that
correct.
stuff through the time that I was doing theater, and it's still the same now in many ways, but don't let that if those obstacles weren't there, you don't need to create obstacles for yourself. Create an open space where you can think freely about what you feel like you love, and then you decide how to make it work. Don't stifle the impulse. Unmute yourself, like we
Right!
unmute yourself just for yourself in your own space. You could be with someone else. A lot of times I get a lot from just bouncing things off people. And then someone will say something, "Oh, I didn't really think about that
Yeah,
before."
because sometimes people are afraid to even share that secret dream. They don't even
Right.
wanna say it out loud. So for you, now, at this moment in time, what does unmuting yourself look like for you?
I think to me, it's still, I think I still have a little bit of imposter syndrome sometimes. I think we all do, but
Well, yeah.
is this really can I take this to the next level? Can I expand on what I'm doing? Can I involve more people? Can this go outside of Austin? So I think spreading the word on it, and actually not being so timid even about marketing it. I think I'm always like, if you can come, it would be great to have you there. But if you can't, I understand. You've got a busy time, instead of feeling like,
Right,
not that I have to force people to come, but it's something that be aware that it'll be something they will enjoy. Allow myself to think this isn't wasting somebody's time. They're coming just to support me. No, they're coming to be entertained, to come away feeling a different, we always have a little bit of like social mission thing going through we're always
right.
talking about life in a bigger way. So it's not like it's just self-indulgent. It's a little bit of like, how can we live in this world right now? And how do these songs I'll use my example of what this song is and how it impacts me, but maybe you'll connect with that too. So I think it's more I'm muting myself would probably be more spreading the word without any feeling of being timid about it, and figuring out what's next, and being open to whatever might be next. Collaborating. That's one of the things I've been looking at is how can sister songs collaborate with other entities to expand the whole idea of the arts in Austin, maybe still using that same model of women over 50, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a collaborative effort to empower other people in a bigger way. So those are some of the just kind of the things that have been spinning around. But we've only been at it just a year, but we've already
Right.
done 2 staged 1 show twice in 2 different venues, a little bit different show each time, and then we've got this new one coming, so it's like, I feel pretty good about the direction, but yeah, I'd love to hear ideas about how we can help and be out there and help and encourage other people.
Well, I could listen to you all day long. I can't believe our time is almost up.
Wow.
I know, but I do
Doing a
have a
lot of
few quick
talking.
fire questions for
Of
you.
course.
It was
Yeah.
great. It was great. So just answer with the first thing that comes to mind. Okay, quick fire questions. Here we go. Oh, oh, this is going to be good. Okay. What's a bold idea you've had recently that scares you just enough to try it?
Oh, well, Sister Songs was a bold idea that I was scared of and went in and
And
did it.
look now. Okay.
Yeah, it's real. It's actually real. It's an entity. It's real,
Right.
and we're performing.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's probably yeah, I think that's it. I think the other thing I would want to do is do more. Maybe go back out and audition and maybe do some real theater again.
Do it.
And that scares me. Even though it's something I've done a million times, just it scares me to go hit that world again. So it's probably a good reason to do it.
To do it. Oh, I can't wait to hear
Yeah.
back from you on how your first audition goes when you have it back. Okay, if you could unmute one topic people aren't talking about enough, what would it be?
I think it would be the what wise women of a certain decade, age, I don't even like using the word age, point in their lives
Yes.
have to say, and that it is not nothing. It's very meaningful. It's very, um, people need to listen because there's so much life learning that happens, and particularly for women because their struggles are different. I would like to provide a space for women over 50, not just singing, but just to be open and be able to share the gift of their lives,
Right.
bad and good, to show what's people are really capable of. Yeah.
Wonderful. And what's one small daily habit that's had a big impact on your mindset?
It's for me, it has been spending uh the beginning of the day before I even like get in the shower. I always work out and stuff, but in spiritual communion, finding either reading or praying or thinking, about ideas that are not tactical,
Yes.
basically allowing the freedom to make that day the best it can be and taking that in before the day starts hustling.
Setting
Whatever
yourself up.
format, somebody yoga, whatever that meditation, whatever that is, but not letting other things get in the way of that, and that has become a routine for me every single day, and it if I'm really focused on it, it can really change the trajectory of each day.
Wow. And if listeners can take one action, not just an idea, after listening to your story, what should that be?
Consider something that you feel passionate about but didn't ever think had anywhere to go, and spend some time without judgment thinking about making that happen for yourself. And then talk to someone about it to make it come true.
Do it.
Help you make it come true. Do it. Do it.
Do it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, what's one word that captures who you're becoming right now?
Wiser.
Well, on that note, this has been such a powerful conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your wisdom with us. And I do have a final couple of questions. So if listeners walk away from this conversation remembering just one thing, what do you hope it is?
That every individual has power and choice. And you can combine both of those things and bring your individual whatever to it. Um, and make things happen. It may not happen right away, it didn't for me, but don't ever let go. Don't keep going, because it may evolve into something that wasn't the original idea, but veered off into a
Right.
way that really made you feel like, "Oh, this is where I was heading. I went through all of that other stuff so I can get here."
Keep going.
Right?
And on a more personal note, what has it meant for you to share your story here on Unmute Yourself today?
I think it's been wonderful. I will admit to having a certain amount of trepidation about doing something like this because it is. I like to perform, but that doesn't mean I like to talk about myself like off the
Right.
cuff. So I think the fact that there is a story and
Oh,
that have something to say that might be interesting to people or help people. Um, that's been cool. And of course, I just love getting to know you. You're amazing. So
It's fun. It's great. Same. And I think you'll help a lot of people. I already know some folks in my circle who I think will absolutely benefit from what you had to say today. So thank you so much. How can people, Elizabeth, connect with you and support your work?
great. You can find out about Sister Songs at www.sister-songs.com. There is a contact form in there, so you can be put on our mailing list. You can reach me on my Gmail, which is Elizabeth Moliter, no dots or anything, at gmail.com if you have questions. And we have, if you go to the sistersongs.com site, you will also see in there, it's an event site. So it really provides the information on the next show coming up and a little background and some video and photos. And so you can learn a little bit more. But there's a ticket link in there. So I would encourage you for the show on the 13th. We would love to have you. I think, yeah. So I want to make sure I'm trying to do the thing I hate doing, which is publicizing
You're doing it.
my work. So here it is. That's how to find out more.
Let's get you sold out here,
That'd be
Elizabeth.
great. Thank you for
That'd
that.
be great. Well,
Yeah,
thank you so much again for sharing your story
my pleasure.
and your wisdom with us today. And to everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to Unmute Yourself. And if today's conversation inspired you, please share this episode, subscribe, like, follow, and stay tuned for more stories of leaders creating work that truly fits and matters. Until next time, unmute yourself and step into the story only you can tell.